everybody. Welcome to today's episode of The Dialogue. I am so excited for this content that I'm going to be releasing today. As you know, our mantra is that we are healing souls one conversation at a time. It is my prayer that today, this information that I'm going to release is going to be beneficial to you. It was really helpful to me. It's very personal, but I am willing to open up to share about personal things that are taking place in my life in hopes that it helps someone else. Don't forget, you guys, that you can go to Amazon.com and purchase my book titled Succumb. It is a practical book of wisdom for those of you that are transitioning through relationships. Maybe you're relocating, maybe you're going to counseling, maybe you're dealing with childhood trauma that is left unresolved that you're actually not talking about. If you're in an abusive relationship, dealing with death or sorrow, or being isolated from your family, that's a better word. You can go to Amazon.com and purchase the book. It has all these juicy topics available, and it will show you how to navigate through those areas in story form. Okay? So, once again, thank you to all of you that have been tuning into the broadcast, that have been following, as well as sharing the content with other people. We appreciate any type of support that you are able to give. Word of mouth sure goes a long way. And so we just appreciate those of you that are following. If you are new to the podcast, welcome. And that was a brief introduction. So let us get into the content for today. So today I want to talk to you about, is it D or D? Is it depression or is it vitamin D? So some of you may know that I am a chemical dependency counselor. I counsel people that are addicted to substances, whether they be drugs or alcohol or prescription pills. They all fall under the same area. I am also a qualified mental health specialist, which is someone that is able to look in or assess mental issues. And this all comes from all the work that I have put in over the years. I am also a woman that has graduated from school with her bachelor's in psychology. So when I talk to you today, I want you to listen and try and grasp what I am about to explain to you. Okay, so last year was just full of trial and tribulation. And I feel like in this time, in this day, in this hour, I am at a point of closure, coming out of one season and going into the next. And I don't know if you yourself find yourself in this place or not, but like they say, life is lifing. And for some of you, that's not good. Life has just been taking on its own form and doing what it wants to do. And what's happening is that there's like a vortex happening in your life where it's so much chaos, it's so much confusion, it's just an array of things taking place, and they're just all swirling around at once. And it's just going so fast. And you can't stop anything, and you don't know how to fix anything. You feel like things are out of your control. You just feel like life is burying you. And how many of you know that when life happens like that and you get buried like that, it's dark. It's really, really dark. Sometimes you don't know your vision, your strategy, what direction to go, who to call, if to call anybody at all, because I have a propensity to talk to the people that are the strong people, who take on everybody else's problems, who help everyone else. And when they come to a hard, trying place, they don't know who to call. And I myself am one of those people. I'll be blatantly honest today and humbly admit that. And it's so ironic that I was experiencing something the other day, and when I asked someone to pray for me, I couldn't even put the sentence in there correctly. I said, can you keep us in prayer? I don't even know. It just sounded awkward because I never asked for prayer. And so as I'm going through this, I had a shift in my job. I finished school. I'm taking care of my daughter. I'm in an environment that I'm not exactly happy with. I like to get out. I like to go and have fun. I'm a park type of person. And so I like to be out. Like, I'm the type of person, I love to just jump on a road and just find something to do. I just love to enjoy life, especially when I'm going through something trying. It takes my mind off of what's taking place and I can do other things. But how many of you know there will be times in your life where God is good and God is great, but your situation seems so far outside of those characteristics of God? Your life doesn't feel so great. And it's not like you're not grateful, because God has done so much for me. He has helped me so much. He has aligned so many things in my life, removed so many people. But still there's areas in my life that are extremely difficult, trying. And so I found myself, I want to say September. Actually, it was all of last year, if I could be honest with you. All of last year, it was just hard. And I found a job that I really, really liked. I was counseling so many people. Like, our facility had 73 patients, and I had the full roster of patients as the new counselor. So can you imagine that, having to develop relationships with people, having them be able to trust you, because when you counsel people, ultimately they open up to you because they feel comfortable enough and they trust you. And so I find myself counseling 73 patients, taking care of a baby, getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning. On top of that, going to bed about 8 or 9, and a slew of other things taking place in my life. And so anybody knows that through the wintertime, you can go through what they call seasonal depression, because the sun is not out as often. We have to hibernate a little bit more if you live in cities or states that are cold and have snow. And so what happens is that you find yourself in more darker times, not by your doing, it's just nature. And on top of that, it gets dark earlier in the day. Like, it gets dark at like 5 and 6 o'clock. So not only is there less sunlight, there's also less daylight, like less sun in the months of December, January, February. I want to say November too, but you also have less daylight time where it's getting dark at like 5 or 6. So you only have about 8 to 9 hours of daylight. All of that has an effect on the brain. Not only just on your brain, but also your spirit. Let alone if you are somebody that enjoys getting out, enjoys having fun, and you can just be stuck in the house. I know people that when the winter time hits, they leave for 6 months and don't come back. Like, they'll be gone from October until March because they don't like to deal with the cold. I know people like that. Me personally, I'm over the cold. Like, I could definitely go and live on the West Coast. I said I would be sad if my daughter didn't get to experience Christmas with snow, but she had her first year, so I think she's okay. Because I'm a sunlight type of person. I'm a light-hearted type of person. And you would be amazed with that, because I've been someone that has battled or had experience with depression my entire life. There were numbers of many things that took place with me that put me in dark places, because I just don't understand how people can do people sometimes. And so it lands you in a dark place because you have a lot of questions that are unanswered. But then once you get past the depression, you have to think about, your inner man. And I really had to question some things, because in October, I had decided to do like a little mini conference or webinar for people that battle with depression. And it was more to the extent of I was doing podcasting interviews with people that battle with depression. Some of them had suddenly lost their mother. Some of them had gone through divorce. Some of them had been molested when they were children by their biological fathers. I mean, it's pretty deep. You can tune into the episodes. They are available on this podcast, and it's about depression, okay? And it's going to be in the month of October that you're looking for, because October is National Depression Awareness Month, okay? This month, I believe April or May, is National Mental Health Awareness Month, okay? Just throwing those two disclaimers out there. And so I find myself in a place where I come out of all of this all of this chaos and confusion and just turmoil. But the ironic part was that I knew that I was coming out, but I still had the same feelings as I did when I was in it. And so, after you come through a long, hard trial, a lot of people will tell you that afterwards you can become depressed. Sometimes you go through a trying situation and you come out and you just feel like trash. I think for some people, it can be classified as like survivor's guilt for some. Some people just feel sad about some of the decisions that they made, because every trial is not just brought on because of just something. Some of them are because of the decisions that we made, and which produced an outcome that we went through an experience that hurt us or traumatized us or caused us to develop these inner thoughts and inner dark thoughts. I know when I was going through my situations, I wasn't the happiest camper, because it literally felt like it was happening every single day. And now that I'm out of that place and I'm sitting and I'm evaluating, because a lot of times you need to sit and evaluate so you don't make the same decisions over and over, to be in the same situations over and over. That's actually really difficult too, when you have to sit and think about things. And so I myself am a pretty motivated person, like self-motivated, as far as inspiring people about the Bible, inspiring people about God, inspiring people about their dreams and purpose and goals, and getting in better relationships if that's what you were having. But I found myself today without any inspiration. And as a creative person that writes, that develops storylines, that a creative person, you need inspiration. Normally, I'll just take my daughter to the park, see her laugh and play and smile. The greenery it just seems like it livens me back up. For some reason, and I'm going to say this, it's not freezing outside. The sun is out. It's been beautiful. But I still had those lingering feelings. Even though the season has passed, the situation is over. And I feel like I'm in a different place as far as all of the difficulty. I still feel like I'm in the same place when I get up in the morning. Once you go through something for so long, this is why they call it PTSD, because afterwards, after, traumatic, the experience that you went through that was just so difficult, stress, whatever it did to you to cause you to not be okay, disorder, Something is out of order in your life. Post-traumatic stress disorder. Most of us know it because of the veterans who went to war, and after they came back from the war, they were noticing many different things that was going on with them. That is what I feel like I'm experiencing now. Situation done, resolved, fulfilled per se. Residue. That's what we'll call it. When you come out of a situation, but you still feel like you're there, that's residue on you. And I said it this morning when I got up. I normally get straight up. I tend to my daughter. I get breakfast and then, get us situated. I get us dressed and then we just move forward in the day. I literally had to say, Lord, and say a prayer. Lord, help me to tend to my responsibilities today. And then also had to thank him for giving me the strength to be able to tend to my daughter, because I'm a stay-at-home mom right now. And if any of you understand, if you're parents at all, most people are like, okay, it's time for you to go to daycare. It's time for somebody to pick you up. It's time for me. I need my me time. Me, I just do it when my daughter goes to sleep. But anybody knows how taxing it can be to be a stay-at-home mom if that is what you are. So you have all these situations going on at once in this vortex. It's like a tornado. And anybody knows after a tornado, there is damage. There is damage that needs to be repaired. Houses. I'm going to say houses like you, because your body is a tabernacle of the Holy Spirit's indwelling. Now you have to go through the repair. Sometimes the repair is worse than the storm, because sometimes the storms can happen quickly. But sometimes how long it takes you to get yourself back together can take a long time. And so that is what you would call restoration. Restoration is when something was originally in a specific type of form. It was either destroyed, mutilated, or destructed, deconstructed. Construct means to build up. Deconstruct means to tear down. And now you have to go through a season of restoration. That is difficult. Now, not only do people not know how to understand something's wrong with them to get to the root cause, most people don't even want to talk about what happened to them. Most people, it's so hard for them to be there on that level to understand they need help. A lot of people don't. But I do love this age and era that we are in. We are in a time where more people now than ever are seeking out for mental health. 40, 50 years ago, this was not even a conversation. And so now we find it that mental health is on the rise, okay? So now you have the conversation being started about mental health, but you have people that are not willing. So can you imagine going through the situation, being tore down, life just sucking you down in this deep, dark hole where you can't see anything. Nobody can see you're down there. It seems like you're suffering along. Your eating is changed. Your water intake, your health regimen as far as working it out and the things that you used to like and enjoy gone. This vortex has sucked the life out of you. And so you have the residue after the situation, where now you have to acknowledge what happened to you so that you can be restored. And you have to be blatantly honest and say, I am not okay. I am not in a good place. I am not in a good place and I'm not okay. And I'm listening to this message he was saying that 90% of people actually go to church. They use church instead of going to counseling. And he said it. He said the bad part about that is that God is used for a high, and then when you don't get that high, it's bad for you. So we find ourselves at the point of restoration, right? And most people won't tell you this, but we always see in the Bible how people, they overcome. We see how Mary had Mary had Jesus, but the trauma that she endured before, almost being annihilated, for being pregnant. You gotta remember, they were killing the firstborn babies and things like that. And Mary was espoused to be married to Joseph, which means that she was technically already with a man. So in those times if you got caught cheating and your espousal, it was adultery, and you could be killed or stoned for that. Okay. The trauma that she went through. Okay. The children of Israel, even though they were in bondage for all those years, crossing through the wilderness, fighting those new giants and the people that they had never seen or encountered before. Okay. You have to understand that when you go through adversity, difficulty, tragedy, if you lose somebody, you lose a job that you worked at for a long amount of time, there is a period of restoration that you have to go through, where everything in your core, everything in your body, everything in regards to you has to come back to, I want to say, homeostasis, back to its original, where it started out, okay? And so restoration, it can take time. It's a process. And for a lot of us that are super, super strong, even myself, I don't know how to do that. Because the root word is rest, right? The root word is rest. And for some of us that are the strong people, the go-to people, even when we go through adversity, trial, and situations, we take those things on and we try to get through them the best that we can. But when we come out and it's time for us to rest and give ourselves that understanding, like, hey, you just went through something so hard. We'll keep getting up. We'll keep going. We'll keep doing. We'll find things to do. Just over the weekend, I was reading an article and it was talking about when your spirit is crushed. I'm not going to lie to you. I just been trying to find all different types of ways to assess myself. Like, okay, what is going on? Normally in the morning, I get up. I'm excited about reading the Bible. I'm excited about prayer. I'm excited just about spending time with my child. Those are the things that are important to me. And it just seems like the things that are important to me are not important anymore. I really had to have an authentic conversation with God. Like, Lord, what is going on with me? I never feel like this about the Bible. I never feel like this about spending time or praying. It's like I'm finding other things to do so that I don't have to do that. And that's what it said. It said when your soul is crushed, because situations that we go through can crush your soul. It can crush your spirit. You get around people that you think are your friends and then they just turn on you, but you've been with these people for a while. You never saw the warning signs that they weren't a friend. They were just keeping you around for comfort, because some people feel comfortable when they're not doing as much, when you're not doing anything, because you're just going through that season of being prepared for the coming into. It makes some people feel better because they're working or whatever they're doing, just to be able to call you like, hey, what are you doing? And you're like, oh, nothing. You just sitting there. But they don't understand that God is doing an inner work in you that has not yet manifested. So it's not that you're not doing anything. You're working things out inwardly. And sometimes the outside is more important than people when they're going through things or being prepared. But how many of you know that your outside eventually matches your inside? That could be good or bad. Okay? So your restoration process. Do you understand that means everything gets restored? Everything gets restored. I titled this conversation D or D because I wanted to talk about depression in the area of restoration. Once you go through a situation, it can be so depressing. Like, you could just feel like you lost yourself. When you come out, you don't know what to do. You don't know who to talk to. You don't even know who you are. And that's going to take time. It's going to take time for you to understand that. You're not that person that was in that abused relationship. It's going to take time for you to understand that all your friends and the people that you deal with had to leave your life so that you can acquire new people that not only just add to your purpose, but people that add to your life. Because you were used so much and violated so much, there has to be new people that come into your life. Restoration takes time. It's not always depression. Sometimes it's residue. Sometimes it's the realization. And then sometimes, as in my case, it's vitamin D. So this is the twist to the story, right? I've been feeling like this for a good minute. Like I said, as far as like getting up, just being exhausted, being tired, right? And I stood in the kitchen the other day because I'm cooking, and I'm blatantly honest. I'm like, maybe I need to go talk to somebody, like a doctor. I'm like, maybe it is something wrong with me, right? I'm thinking on a mental scale, right? I'm thinking on a mental scale because honestly, everything that I just went through and in my life in general, let me tell you, homegirl should be locked up in somebody's psych ward. But it's not through anything else but the grace of God that he has allowed me to be in my right mind. Okay? But I'm standing in the kitchen and I'm like, this is not me. Like, I'm normally not this tired. I just felt like what I want to do is I want to just, keep my daughter together, watch her play and watch Law and Order all day. SVU. Okay? But when I said that and I was blatantly honest with God, I had went to the doctor, just my regular doctor, my primary doctor. And I took some tests. I'm like, hey, something's going on. My legs feel a little bit funny. You know what I'm saying? I'm just tired. And this is so ironic because me and my daughter go to the park almost every day, if not every other day. But something was wrong. So I took the test for my cholesterol. That was a little bit awkward. I figured out what that was from. And then I got the call today from the results. And she's like, your vitamin D is off. Now, I like my doctor. She's an African-American woman. If I go in and ask, like, okay, can I take a test? She's like, of course, and she'll run all my tests and stuff. I think I gave blood twice last month. And it was vitamin D. The levels are normally supposed to be between 30 and 100. I'm at 11. Can you imagine? I remember I saw this video and this African-American woman, she was on Instagram. She said, as Black people, we need to go in and ask for the tests that are not normal tests, not just when something's wrong with you. You need to be asking for tests when you have like mood changes and things like that. It was my vitamin D. It's my vitamin D. Now, there are so many things that can happen and go on with the person that is vitamin D deficient. And that's what it is. It's like you can have mood changes. Your body will actually pull more vitamin D because it has to exert a higher level of energy to actually cope, or let's just say supply with what you don't have. So it'll pull from your reservoir of other vitamin D. It was talking about muscle aches and pain and things like that when you're vitamin D deficient. And then also depression. It can lead to hair loss. I know like last year was like all my strands of hair were just falling out. And I'm just thinking like, okay, this is normal. I can go through something. My hair was falling out. It also said fatigue, not sleeping well, depression or feeling of sadness. We talked about the hair loss, muscle weakness, loss of appetite. I'm telling you, I will cook. And I'm like, this food is just not hitting today. And pale skin. It also said you'll get sick more easily. But at the same token, it was also denoting that your skin can become darker. Your skin can become darker. So I don't know why last week I was like, I'm just going to go on a fruit and vegetable type of cleanse. And I'm like, I need to get something different. And I wanted to just do like salmon and things like that. And salmon is one of the things that can help with fortification for vitamin D. But my doctor is just such of a blessing. She went ahead and just ordered me some pills. I have to take 4 in a month, and it's going to help. So I got on here to say, is it depression or is it vitamin D? And I don't have anything against anybody that needs to go to the doctor to be put on other types of medications that help to stabilize your mood or your mental. But have you got a blood test? Have you had your iron levels checked, your vitamin D, your vitamin C? Have you seen what you're allergic to? That played a huge role in my attitude today. Like I just even hearing that there was nothing else wrong. It was just vitamin D. It made me feel better. But also seeing what I went through, me taking the necessary steps to go to the doctor after a trying situation and try to take care of myself as far as drinking more water. I'm trying to incorporate more protein shakes. I'm starting to try to get my mind together to go back into working out. That is the restoration, where now you don't have to be so concerned about your situation. You can rest in taking care of yourself because you deserve to be taken care of after you experience something that traumatic. You know what your traumatic situation is. You know how it affected you. And now it's just time to be honest, because it's affecting other things in your life. How you live, how you eat, how you sleep, being entertained by people or lack thereof. The situation did so much. You have to be honest with yourself. You can't lie about it. You have to sit there and assess yourself on a personal level, meaning your health, meaning your mental state. What happened to you? What did it do to you? What did it do to you? Vitamin D or depression. Regardless of if it's both of them, you still have to get assessed, which means you have to be honest with yourself and admit that you need help. Okay. I am so happy for this content that we released today. Don't forget to follow the podcast so that you are able to get more content. We appreciate you guys that are listening, that are sharing the information with other people. Like I said, we are healing souls one conversation at a time. Stay tuned. This is Patricia. We will have more content for you guys at a later date. And we just hope that you do something for yourself and enjoy your day. Bye, everybody.